You have any hilarious interactions with fans? Anybody ever say something just absolutely despicable to you, right to your face, because they paid for a ticket in the front row of a stadium, so they're allowed to say whatever they want to anybody?
Oh, I mean, there's been a bunch. There's been a bunch over the years. I think the rowdiest and the biggest trash talkers and the funniest talkers are in Philly.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, that's where
There's been a lot of different interactions, and we had a stretch there where we played them a few times in Philly. And one time I got hit with a battery in the helmet. But the funniest was we were playing them on a Monday night. I think it was in 2006. And one of your boys can fact check this, but it was I feel like it was 2006. Might have been 2005. But the entire game, every time Favre would come out of the game and we'd look at the pictures, somebody in the stands would yell, "Hey, Rodgers, get the splinters out your ass." The entire game. I mean, he had to be in one of the first two rows, but every single time I came over, "Get the splinters out your ass."
Did you ever turn around and interact with said guy?
I did, because in the beginning I was like, "Man, why is he yelling at me?" You know, like, of all the things you could be yelling. And then when you just kept going and going, it went from to I respect this guy now. This guy, he's carried it on the entire game. At some point, I got to turn around and give this guy a thumbs up. So I turned around, he looked at me. I was like, "Hey, kudos to you, bro. That's for you sticking with it, the stick-to-itiveness that you have."
Oh, yeah.
You yelled at the entire game without me turning around to the middle of the third quarter. A lot of respect for that.
I had a Philly, we played the Eagles the week after my suspension for my alleged event in Philadelphia, primetime game. Couldn't have been a worse place to go to after that arrest that I had. It was amazing. The entire game. Some guy who sounded like he was potentially 400 pounds, and once I eventually turned around, he was about 5 bills or whatever. He had you could hear it in his voice, you know. He was giving it to me. McAfee team! Like, my name was wrong the entire time. And Vinatieri and I made an agreement that I wasn't going to turn around. And because we knew I was going to hear it from Philly. Like, we knew I was going to hear things, especially after a week suspension or whatever. And I was like, I'm not going to give him even the time of day. This guy, though, after the first couple times, I'm like, I got to see this human. And I turn around, he's holding a cartoon-sized beer. It was like a 44-ouncer, it felt like. Yeah. And he goes, "There's nothing wrong with having a few of these and going for a swim." And his entire section started cheering, right? They're like, "Yeah." And he chugged his beer or whatever. And I'm like, "Oh, my man, I appreciate you, you know." I go out there, I pin him at the 1. I got lucky on a punt. I go back, and he goes, "McAfee!" And I turn around, he goes, "Fuck you!" And I was like, I thought we were friends. And it was like I had the full Philadelphia Eagles fan experience in about 5 minutes. I love it. Baltimore was always rowdy, I thought. I enjoy them. Pittsburgh was always rowdy. I enjoy those fans that are just ruthless. I love that type of shit.
Yeah, I like... the other thing you miss about the fans is there's always some wild cards that could show up. Like in Cincy in 2005, when we were driving down and some dude runs out of the stands right past me. We're on the plus 20 going in, down 7 to try and score. And he runs down there, and the back judge sees it when he's running about the plus 40. Right, I'm standing on the minus 30, so I'm way away from the play. So he literally runs 70 yards, takes the ball out of Favre's hands, and they've blown the play at this point. We're on the ball in 2 minutes. They've blown the play, and he runs down to try and score a touchdown. And he's already exhausted. I got to give him some credit because he ran about 80 yards to even get the ball. Then he's trying to go 80 the other way.
Tough.
He wasn't in shape. In Philly, I believe it might have been that same game where splinters out your ass. Somebody ran on the field and dumped a substance at midfield. Turned out to be his mother's ashes.
No. Wow. Oh, my God. Wow.
And at Lambeau as well, you never know. There hasn't been any dongs out or anything, but there's been some Speedos and some streakers. And they always get ripped by, some security guard or player. Brad Jones, one of our linebackers, one time was on kickoff. Somebody ran out there, avoided a couple of our security guys, and then Brad just clotheslined the shit out of them. And then they, jumped on him. But I do miss the
fans. You miss the fans. You miss the fans. A lady or a guy dumping his mother's ashes on the midfield is a story I haven't heard